On this episode of MythBusters, we're exploring the ideas of which cools faster a room, air conditioning or a fan, and do frozen batteries last longer than non-frozen? Stay tuned to MythBusters Ipoly edition.
In order to do the AC experiment, we'll need a thermometer to check the temperature of the room. We'll need a ceiling fan to cool off the room, and an AC to cool off the room again, as well as a closed-off room.
Then, for the battery experiment, we need flashlights and batteries, and at last, a freezer. So today we're in Target and we're looking for two identical flashlights with the same type of battery so we can use it for our experiment. So let's go find it.
They look kind of cheap.
Yeah, and we have two of the same exact flashlights that we need, and we have the same batteries. So I think those can work. One for the freezer and one for the non-freezer. Perfect! For the first step in our battery experiment, we will take batteries and put them inside a freezer. We will wait exactly 1 hour and return to them and put them inside flashlights. After an exciting hour, we return to the freezer to get our batteries. Now, our frozen batteries will go inside our flashlights, and once they're inside, we will have to turn them on at the same exact time. Now, we will see which flashlight turns off first, the frozen batteries or non-frozen batteries.
In order for our results to be more accurate for our experiment, we have to again so that we can be more sure of our results. Okay, so we have to put the batteries in the freezer for 1 hour. It's been exactly an hour now, so I'm gonna go take out the batteries from the freezer.
The frozen batteries.
Okay, let's put them inside the freezer side.
Oh, hurry, they're cold. Now we can figure out which batteries will last longer. First, we have to find the initial temperature of our room. We set up the thermometer and it's 69 degrees. After finding the initial temperature, we will put on the AC to find out if our room temperature changes. We return to our room to find out what our temperature is after the AC being on for 10 minutes. We figure out that from the thermometer in the room, it is still 69 degrees Fahrenheit. After finding the temperature, we can now turn off the air conditioning. The temperature of our room is still 69 degrees. We can now turn on our ceiling fan and leave it on for 10 minutes.
Did you see a change?
So it turns out that the thermometer that we have been using isn't working correctly. So that means that we have to go back to the drawing board and go back to Target to find a new thermometer.
Well, basically we need to get another thermometer because the one that we used before at Bianca's house didn't really work. So we're trying to find a new one that actually works this time. How about this one? This one's about $8.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the one we used at Bianca's house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It beats the $40 thermostat.
Yeah, it's easier to read because that one's really small.
Yeah.
So now that we have to redo the experiment all over again, we have to leave the new thermometer in the room and come back in 10 minutes to check the original temperature.
Yeah, no, it kind of changed a little bit. So, at least we know that's working. Yeah.
Yeah, so after 10 minutes, and now, after 10 minutes, so now we're going to turn on the fan for 15 minutes, and then come back and check.
So we just turned the fan on, and now we're going to leave the room for 15 minutes with the door closed so none of the coldness escapes from the fan. And then we're going to come back into the room after the 15 minutes and check the temperature to see if it changed or not.
Okay, so it's been 15 minutes, and now we're going to check the temperature in the room.
Oh, so the temperature dropped to 70 degrees. 70.
7, okay. It decreased by 2 degrees.
Okay, so now we're going to turn off the fan and leave the room for the room goes back to its initial temperature.
So now it's 4 o'clock, which is 15 minutes from when we turned the air conditioner on. And so now we're going to go see how much the temperature has decreased or increased. So now with the after having the air conditioner on, now the thermostat shows.
The temperature is now 68 degrees, meaning that the temperature has dropped 4 degrees from the initial room temperature, which is 72 degrees.
So in the fan versus air conditioner experiment, the first time around we used the thermostat, but then it ended up not working properly. So we had to go to Target and get a new one for the second round.
So after we got the new thermometer, we did the experiment all over again. Unfortunately, the new thermometer ended up working, and it turned out the AC was more effective than the fan was. When we turned the AC on, the temperature dropped 4 degrees from the initial room temperature, and when we turned the fan on, the temperature only dropped 1 degree from the initial temperature.
Actually, the room temperature decreased by 2 degrees with the fan.
Oh, you are right, Jokabelle. The temperature did drop 2 degrees instead of 1.
The red flashlight lasted about 17 minutes longer than the blue flashlight, which had the frozen batteries.
So, in the second experiment, the blue flashlight yet again died before the red flashlight.
Okay. Do you want to take it out and place it in again?
The batteries in the freezer.
So, it turns out that putting batteries in the freezer does not improve a battery's performance. In fact, storing it in extreme temperatures can harm it. You see, batteries work by generating electric currents. These electric currents are produced when a connection is made between its positive and negative terminals. When the terminals connect, a chemical reaction is initiated, which produces electrons to supply the battery power. The chemical reactions slow down in extremely low temperatures. When this happens, the electrons are produced at a lower rate. Therefore, when the batteries are placed in the freezer for 1 hour, it produced less electrons than the batteries that were stored at room temperature for the same amount of time. The air conditioner can reduce the heat in the room more than the ceiling fan can. Yet during the experiment, it felt like the ceiling fan had cooled down the room more than the air conditioner. Yet during the experiment, the fan felt a much greater impact than the air conditioner. People feel cooler with the fan because the air flowing from the fan tricks the skin into believing that they are being cooled off, but in reality they aren't. For a room to cool off, the air conditioner releases refrigerants that diffuse throughout the air.